In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of the trail arm in the golf swing. It is vital for not only producing a really good backswing, but also downswing, and most importantly, compression and impact. As ever, this video is inspired by one of my online students who was really struggling at impact in particular. He got the right arm really straight and got this right arm almost kind of, the right hand almost bent down towards the golf ball. So we created this angle here between the forearm going down to the fingers, whereas actually we would want it more on this angle. So I'm going to be explaining to you how you can do that if this is a problem you're facing as well. I'm sure you, like me, we want to improve our ball striking. We always want to keep trying to get better. And one of my students was really struggling with impact, where he would come into the golf ball, he had lovely rotation, good hip turn, good weight onto the lead side, but the shaft angle was very upright, meaning the fingers here were below the angle of this trail forearm. So this is my right forearm. So what I wanted him to do, I wanted to get a little bit more bend here, and I wanted to get a little bit more bend here. Now, if I just bend straight back into the golf ball, what do you see straight away? We see a little bit more shaft lean. We've got the elbow more in front of the body, so we're able to keep the hands and the club in front of the body, which means we're able to more likely to be able to compress down. So straight away, if you just grab yourself a golf club and just put the golf club straight out, give a little bend in the wrists, just not straight vertical, but maybe to 2 o'clock, little bend in this elbow, and then just tilt yourself back into posture. Notice how the shaft of the club goes in front of the golf ball, and that is how we're going to start to achieve a better angle of attack, which is hitting down on the golf ball, and better compression. Now, understanding better compression is massively important. We've got to understand what low point is. So the low point of your golf swing is the moment this golf club makes contact with the lowest part of its arc, okay? So it might not necessarily be the ground, it could be just slightly below the ground. The best ball strikers in the world, their low point with an iron in particular could be anything between 4 and 6 inches past the golf ball. So this golf club's working down into the ball, strikes the ball, continues to go down, and then 4 inches or so after gets to its low point and starts to come up. A lot of golfers, and you might be in the similar bracket to this as well, get their low point probably at the golf ball, or maybe just in front of the golf ball. So you lack that compression. Are you a type of player that just hits no divot whatsoever and you just pick it off the turf? That would, to me, say that your low point is either pretty much at the golf ball or even just before it. I suppose it could also be just after it, but again, you're not feeling that compression of strike. This right arm allows you to get that position, encourages you, I should say, to get that club into position. So straight away, stand up dead straight, arm out in front, 2 o'clock with the wrist, bend that elbow into your rib cage, just so that my tricep there is right into my rib cage, bend into impact, turn my body, and there we have it, shaft lean as we come into the golf ball. That would be the holy grail of this golf swing. Now, how do we achieve it? It starts at setup. I do see a lot of players getting this kind of structured, very straight V in the arms. First of all, we've got to bend this elbow and we've got to bend the wrist. We're going to have a very obvious angle between the right forearm and the shaft of the club. We're not going to get, the shaft of the club is not going to be an extension of the arms. There's going to be a bend in the wrist angles, okay? So the shaft of the club sits, the elbow, right elbow, I feel like my right elbow just tucks into my tummy a little bit. And this right elbow is not going to straighten until post impact, okay? So I've got my wrist angle bent, I've got my elbow bent. And as I start to work up to the top of the backswing, I'm going to keep my right elbow tight into my rib cage. So as I go up, I'm into that rotation, I get that turn. And what you'll see from this face-on perspective, I often say to my students as well, can you create me a U between your bicep, your forearm, and the golf club? Let's create that U position. Body weight moves back into the golf ball. I've still got my U, although slightly bigger. And now as I come into the golf ball here, I've got my right elbow still bent, and I've got this wrist angle as well, still ever so slightly hinged. So in your swing now, even without a golf club, you're stood there watching this video, hinge your index finger to 2 o'clock, hinge your elbow into your rib cage, swing up to the top of your backswing. Can you imagine the U shape, an extension of where the golf club would be going through the palm of my hand there? Have I got that U shape? Yes, I have, okay? So that's how I would look at this. I want to try and encourage this U shape in my right arm. So this trail arm, as I'm worked from a very kind of relaxed setup position, just in here, as I bend it, my wrist will also hinge back into the correct position. I get my U shape at the top, and as I start to work this back down, if I maintain this 2 o'clock wrist angle, this elbow will just sit. See how the elbow just sits into my rib cage? So we don't get a flying elbow, we don't get the elbow on the outside of the body. That just sits there into the rib cage, right in there. Really nice and tight. Now, one of the practice swings that you can do underneath your armpit, keep it nice and connected. We don't want to see it flailing away. We don't want to see it out here. So put your hand under your armpit, into position, got that U shape, turn, into position. Look at that delivery position. That would be optimal, wouldn't it? You can then go with 2 hands on the club. You can do, obviously, a number of things. I'm just going to use my glove. I'm going to put my glove under my right armpit as I've set up. I'll go to the top. I've still got width, I've still got height, but I've also just got a little bit of connectivity. I don't want this right elbow disappearing behind my body. It's in front of my rib cage. So as I go up, into position, down, there's my U. And now as I would extend through, I would expect the glove to drop, okay? So you can do multiple things here. You could actually practice this with your chipping, where you get a towel under both armpits and just really feel that connectivity. And you have to bend your elbow, you have to bend your wrist to achieve those 2 positions during the golf swing, okay? So as you swing the golf club back, if we're going to go for a pitching style swing, we go 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we've still got the L. Create a bit of symmetry on this side, we've got the little kind of U position there as well as we go through. So we've got the U to U. Okay, so we're just using the trail, the right arm on the backswing, the left arm on the through swing. And now we're creating that positioning with the wrist angle and the trail elbow to make sure that we can keep that, encourage that compression, keep the golf club in front of the body during the swing. It works like that. My low point then, 3 or 4 inches after I'd struck the golf ball, you can actually see that's where the ball was, and my divot, the kind of the center, the epicenter of my divot was just after the ball. So from this video, there's a couple of vital drills that you can obviously do at home to get that feeling, gauge that feeling of how that right arm should feel as you are swinging the golf club. And I often say, if you can't do it, then you definitely won't be able to do it with a golf ball. So practice this at home, practice the movement, understand the mechanics of the golf swing, understand the mechanics of what you're trying to achieve to improve your golf swing, then it does become a lot easier on the golf ball. And I would start with those pitching swings. I'd grab a pitching wedge, put a glove under my right armpit or a towel under both, and just get that feeling as you're hitting the shots that this right elbow is hinging into position. That means the wrist angle's hinging, and then from here, you're releasing that hinge down onto the golf ball from that position there. So your low point is moving left of the golf ball. Now obviously that is going to be facilitated as well by weight shift, rotation, swing path, but also the understanding this trail arm position is huge for swing path. The trail arm massively dictates the swing path, because if you extend that trail arm too early on the way down, the golf club's going to get very much on the outside, meaning you'll probably swing it from out to in. You'll probably struggle with club face control, and obviously then you're going to struggle with quality of ball striking or consistency of ball striking, and then you'll also struggle with the actual overall distance. So if I get to the top of the backswing and I start to release this too soon, you see a lot of you getting the golf club on the outside with a straight right arm, and then the golf club's pretty much level with the forearm, as opposed to here. Even if you actually maintain these angles but still swing it over the top, what you're still going to get is an out to in swing path, but you're going to have a lot more control of the club face. So this sort of movement is just going to encourage that fade swing, just like that. If I'd have aimed, that would have been absolute money. So all I did then, I still compressed the ball beautifully. I swung it from out to in, which is, remember, out to in's never a problem, it's how you do it. So I was able to maintain these positions, turned my body, had the club face in a good squared position because of how I've got my wrist angle, and I release the golf club down as I would do if I was trying to hit a draw. So this golf swing is allowing me, whether I want to hit a draw or a fade, to compress the golf ball. It's not hindering me. So if I go ahead and try and draw the ball from the same position, I've still got that U position. The golf club now is just a little bit more behind my body, and the ball now can just draw a tiny bit. Really should have aimed again, because that would have been quite a nice shot. So really important just to kind of get that understanding of where the golf club needs to be at setup, in the backswing, and then how you work it into that transition. This trail arm is so important. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you get my next lesson, and I'll see you over in that next lesson.